Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cocktails and Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Alice Rouse. Author, we've got tonight this little book right there, and these other ones right here, these little ebooks coming soon to print, you guys. Where you can get all that down in that description. So go down, fiddle about, hit those links, merchandise, my books, all kinds of things. And I'm getting a new merchandise shop at Spring. Should be linked up here pretty soon. And speaking of linked up, you guys, thank you so much for everybody that's communicating, that's building friendships, not just with me, but with each other. For all the 80s ladies that I'm meeting, fucking rocks. I love it. I love that all the 80s ladies are coming forward because it is time we motherfucking own it. So you guys rock. And to everybody who is giving suggestions, question and answers, thank you so much for really, truly participating and making this amazing family here. So today, you guys, I know you like a good story time, and we're going to do a little reading from the book. Yep. We're going to do one that I did when I very first, because we're almost 3 years old here at Cocktails and Rocktails. We started out as Backstage Bimbo TV. I didn't get a whole lot because of the bimbo part, so I changed the name so I could get a little more exposure. So, and I like Cocktails and Rocktails better anyway. So we're going to do a little reading, and we're going to talk about one of my first rock stars encounter, one of the very earliest, with none other than Eric Carr of Kiss. Yes, had a good time with him. If not a little bit of a mishap. So, all right, you guys, and today I'm finishing off my favorite local brewmaster next to Marcio. Marcio, you know you have my taste buds, my love. You are amazing. You are my favorite still. He's over at Hive Winery right now. But I love Shades. And Kevin Templin is widely renowned as the best brewmaster in Utah. Been with Red Rock for a lot of years till he started his own company. This is his Albion Belgian, which is really great. Super crisp, super easy to drink. Still kind of bold with a slight bitterness. So, all right, everybody, grab your bitters, kick up your feet, and let's have a little Cocktails and Rocktails. Cheers, big ears. Nom, 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 nom. Kevin Templin, you are one of the geniuses in the brew, one of the top geniuses in the state of Utah. I have to say it. Okay. So we are going to do a little reading. Excuse me, gotta move this because I constantly knock over my beer. Okay. So let's get talking about the first time I met Kiss. This is March of 1988. She's only said, what's that Winger song? Yep. I was. That Winger song, the first one, their biggest hit. It's not about me, but I'm saying at this moment in time. Yep. So Kristen woke me up bright and early that morning. She was too excited to sleep and couldn't wait to get downtown to the band. We had struck out the night before, but only because the band had not been in town. They had a gig in another city. As I groggily looked at the clock, I saw that it was only 8 a.m. What the hell? I mean, I know this was Kiss, and the groupie competition would be pretty heavy, but I didn't think they would be in town quite yet. Check-in's not till around noon, 1, depending. Okay, so my groupie sister begged to differ and thought we should get to the Marriott because Kristen had some instincts. Ooh, she was just natural. Like, we just had that mother, dragging us to the mothership kind of instinct. And the mothership was felt firmly in her breastises. Okay. Well, they would be later that day. No, but it was like the nipples just... There's the band. That's what I mean. It was felt strongly in the breastises. Okay. So, jizzy, crizzy, I rolled out of bed and slowly got myself into rock and roll mode. I wore Kristen's black and rhinestone corset with a white leather miniskirt and matching leather fringe jacket. And I loved this Kristen, I remember how we got the teddies too. So So anyway, it was this black teddy, and it had this V of like white rhinestones coming down the front, and it also came here, and it came in this V, and it was just so cute. And it was this white leather mini skirt with the typical 1980s white leather fringy jacket, that you see. Stockings and garters, ladies. Stockings and garters. Don't smash the lips with the pantyhose. That's a turnoff. I don't even want to see it when I'm checking in the mirror. All right, so Dizzy Crazy blah, blah, blah. Perfect for such a heavy-duty rock and roll adventure. I called her to let her know I was on my way. And keep in mind, this is, the 80s. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have internet. We didn't have anything. So we just went down and kind of gambled. We rolled the dice to see what was going to happen. And boy, did some fucking dice roll this day. So, okay. I called her to let her know I was on my way. She had to run her little sisters to school before meeting up with me. I jumped into my new shitty car, because most 17-year-olds have shitty cars, and made my way to downtown Salt Lake City and the scene of many of our crimes. I parked and walked in the regular side door of the Marriott. Right here. Oh, right here, but I'll put the pass right at the beginning, the pass. So here's the Marriott. Pause. And here's the pass for this show. So I parked and walked in the regular side door of the Marriott, thinking I was still too early at 11:30 a.m. for any band action. Ladies, it's never too early for band action. Trust me, I love the morning band action. Starts the day off right. Unless you're with Bret Michaels. Tap, tap, tap. Excuse me. Or Jonathan from Korn. If you know, you know. If you don't, watch all my videos. All my episodes. All right. So I thought 11:30 a.m. was too early for any band action. Not even one other groupie had showed yet, from what I could tell. Because you walk in the lobby of a hotel. I'm the only one walking in. 11:30 a.m. sticking out like a sore thumb in my fucking 1980s rock and roll groupie gala. So, but then again, lobby surfing was never a habit in Salt Lake City. That's what we called looking for the band, lobby surfing. Little did I know, however, as I was paying attention to my purse and just starting the promenade across the empty hotel lobby, because we strutted it, ladies. 80s ladies, the second we opened that hotel door into the lobby, we were strutting our shit. So I was paying attention to my purse and just starting to promenade across the lobby. Was that I was being scouted out? I just felt it, eyes in the back of my head. I felt eyes on me, so I turned to my left, towards the check-in counter that spanned most of the side of the lobby. And I do have pictures of the lobby. An episode, one of the first 10 episodes. There's a thing of downtown. I'll do another one though. So I felt oh shit! I turned towards the check-in counter that spanned most of the side of the lobby. Oh shit! There were Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, the iconic members of Kiss, leaning on their elbows and staring at me in unison. Because they can sense a groupie just like our little nippy. Their little, in Gene Simmons' case, little. I've just seen it in the dressing room. It was like an acorn in a cotton patch. Don't be mad. It was just out of the shower because I was in a dressing room with somebody that I'm about to hook up with. But so, okay. And keep in mind, I grew up with my brother's Kiss albums and stuff, and I swore I was going to marry Ace Frehley. Then they took the makeup off. So, okay. So they were leaning on their elbows, staring at me in unison. Their attention flattered my teenage groupie ass, but kind of made me uneasy in a giddy sort of way, because you're like, oh my God, they're watching me. Strut right, and left, and right, and left. Okay, anyway. So you want to make sure you're not going to trip over your fucking heels, that, your skirt's not up in the back and your ass isn't hanging out. So, you get those little things going on in your mind, because it's Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, and I'm this 17-year-old girl who grew up staring at their albums, right? So, this was Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. They were rock legends already, and seasoned groupie connoisseurs. I smiled deviously at them before shyly turning the corner to the bathroom, where I had just had to use the phone to call Kristen. She needed to be here, like, right the fuck now. I knew she wanted Paul or Gene, and I was still on the hunt for drummer Eric Carr. To me, he was the hottest in the band, and I had to have him. As I left the bathroom, I was soon to find out that someone else had his own plans for me, because I had my plans for Eric Carr. That's who I wanted. I walked by the main lobby area and towards the elevator to do a mock room run, because we used to do that back in the day. We would go up, walk across the lobby, go straight to the hotel elevators, go up to different floors, and we even would take the maid's elevator to the concierge, which you needed a key to get into. So we would just go to the floors and see how many, if there was a bunch of do not disturb signs on the hotel doors, ding, 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 that's the band's floor. Because the second every musician, roadie, tour manager, everybody who gets into their hotel, they flop a do not disturb thingy onto their door. Ladies. I disappointingly didn't see either of the heralded rockers anymore, so I didn't see Paul and Gene anymore, so began to turn my attention back to the elevator path, which was right by the infamous Allie's restaurant, infamous because of James. Just as I turned my head, because I was looking over here towards the elevator were straight ahead of me, and the check-in counter and the front door and Bentley's, the hotel bar and everything were over this way. So Allie's, the restaurant right here, bathroom back there. So I'm kind of crossing again. There were these stairs that used to lead up to the second floor to the indoor pool, which had a retractable roof. This comes into play. So anyway, I was looking over there and I didn't see him, and I just happened to focus my attention back to the elevators. So just as I turned my head, I saw it. It was a chest smothered between black leather and topped off by a diamond crown pin on its lapel. So he had one of those long black leather, matrix jackets on, open shirt. I took in the chest in all its gray hair glory before looking up just to see who was attached to all this pageantry. It was Gene Simmons. He looked back down at me and said in his smoothly booming voice, "You don't think I'm going to let you get away, did you?" "Who said I was trying to get away?" I instantly and robotically flirted back. "Tell me your name, little girl." "I'm Allison." "Allison, I am Gene Simmons. What brings you to the hotel this morning?" Oh, like we both didn't know. Fucking hell. He asked with complete knowledge that it was his band that brought me there. I mean, hello. Only groupies and rockers wear their leather proudly this early in the morning. It's true. "So, what brings you to the hotel?" So I said back to him, "I'm meeting up with a friend," I replied back, "but she isn't here yet." "Well, I could keep you company until she arrives," Gene so sweetly offered. I thought about it for a minute. He wasn't really the one I had fantasized about all those years ago in Missouri, and definitely not the one I was prowling for right now. But he was the Gene Simmons of Kiss. And he may do in a pinch when a groupie needs to be satiated by a rocker in the way a heroin addict needs a hit. See, it was our game, ladies. It wasn't the rocker's games. He was playing into my web, not his, because you'll find out in a minute. I think you could keep me in very good company," I said back with my flirty brow raised. You can't see it. In a signal that I got what he meant. "Well, pretty little Allison," he began as he reached into his leather pocket in a lecherous old man kind of way. "I'm staying under the name Dr. Demento," he instructed as he gave me his room number and key. "You should meet me there in about 45 minutes. After I finished my breakfast." I was a little stunned by the room key he had now not so secretly placed into my hand. Usually room keys came after the conjugal visit during the night before the show, since it was a way of going steady for the time the band was in town. A room key in your hand meant your rocker liked and trusted you and was planning on keeping you as his for the duration. I will see you then, I said sweetly back, but not with full intention of following through. I was like, no, if Gene Simmons in the building, so is Eric Carr. He's somewhere here. I know he is. So, and Danny had gone back to Missouri for about a year and a half at this time, and she was back in St. Louis. So, because a lot of you guys forget, I actually grew up in Missouri, not in Salt Lake City. Moved to Salt Lake City at 15 and had already met David Lee Roth, and boom, took that path into groupiedom. No resistance. So, okay, I was okay. So I will see you then, knowing that I had no intention of following through. In my mind, Jean was just a backup, and I needed Kristen here now. God, the day before cell phones was kind of a bitch. But it was kind of fun because it was a crapshoot. Really, you never knew who was getting there, what time. It was all kind of a surprise, which I like. The Kiss legend smooched me on the cheek and watched attentively as the elevator doors swallowed me up. He thought I was going to his room. Because he was like, just get there and wait for me on the bed. Basically, that was kind of his attitude. So he thought I was going to his room. I really only went to the second floor indoor pool area to call Kristen and tell her of my rather hasty and surprising accomplishment. So I'd walked in. So you get to the second floor of the Marriott, you go left, and so to the right is a bunch of conference rooms. If you go left is the indoor pool, and like I said, it had this retractable roof. So I was like, I knew that pool area. I'd been there. I knew there was an attendant. You walk in, there's a bunch of, lounge chairs, and there's the pool attendant, and there's a phone there. So that's what I was going for. So, So I went there to call Kristen and tell her of my rather hasty and surprising accomplishment. No answer. She must be on her way. That could only mean she was on her way down, and she would soon be at my side, hopefully before Gene could finish his breakfast. Get here quick, Kristen. I turned away from the phone by the attendant's window and sat in a lounge chair. I'd also called Danny. I called Danny because I remember talking to Danny, and so I didn't write that in the book. That's crazy. Because I know 100%, and I told her, I'm like, oh my God, Gene Simmons just gave me his room key. She's like, who? And I was like, yeah, right? She's like, but who do you want? And we were talking about it, and she's like, okay, I gotta go to work, whatever, so she went on her little merry way. Oh, sorry. So Danny was going to work, and I know for a fact I called her. So I really, So I turned away from the phone by the attendant's window and sat in a lounge chair, biding my time. It was then I noticed him. And how did I not see this spectacle when I walked into the pool area? I'm not sure. For across the pool, in his lovely Speedos and mirrored cop shades, big hair all teased up in true rock and roll style, was the man I was really after, Eric Carr. Yay! He waved his hand at me and smiled, and it was this little awkward, hey, kind of with, hey. I waved back and kicked my stilettos up onto the lounge chair in a patient and victorious kind of manner. Because I'm like, fuck, I haven't even been here 20 minutes. I've already got Gene Simmons' room key, and blam, there's the man I was a-looking for. So again, I was not going over to him. I had put myself in front of this rocker, so he needed to do the rest. Ladies, just because they're rock stars doesn't mean you have to slave away to get to them. Make them chase you and introduce themselves, because you don't need to, oh yeah, I know who you are. No, just be like, what was your name? Make him feel like a normal meeting, that he's not the rock star, he's just a man that you find attractive. Anyway, so he was the man after all, and should be the hunter. Eric instinctively, even though we know I was the huntress, I was just luring him into my trap. Eric instinctively got up and headed to my side of the water. His black Speedos proudly strutting their way to me. He got to my chair and sat at the end near my feet. Hey, how are you? he began, a little more awkwardly than his boss and bandmate had been about 10 minutes earlier. Because make no mistake, Gene and Paul were the boss of Eric. And of all the other members of the band since Peter Criss and Ace Frehley left. So I said, so far, so good. How are you? Good, now that I've seen you, Eric replied. Oh, Eric, bad line. But who cared? Rockers could use the worst words in the history of speech and still bag a groupie in less than 5 minutes. Which is about how long this conversation lasted. What is your name? He inquired. Allison, I said. How old are you? He asked as if it was a habit. Because make no mistake, the rockers asked. We just lied. I said 18. I lied. Good, Eric smiled, making some more conversation before inviting me up to his room. For the second time that day, I was given a rock star's room key in the hopes I would be there as requested. Who is in charge of this game now? I thought to myself. But this was the man I had wanted since I saw his picture in Metal Edge last year. Of course, he would be the lucky winner of the day and night. Meet me up there in 15 minutes. I need to take a shower, Eric said before leaning towards me and kissing me on the cheek. Thank you, Eric, for washing your junk before it went in my mouth. Oh, barely fit. This band had some of the same charisma genes running through their veins, didn't they? I thought to myself, but nonetheless, I agreed, only this time I completely intended on keeping my plans. Birds of a feather, everybody giving out their room key in the 80s. I arrived up to Eric's room in a fashionably 3 minutes late, only to find him wrapped in a towel and doused like a wet cat. We made small talk and he ordered up some drinks via room service. Eric sat next to me on the bed and put his face to mine. We began making out like two horny teenagers. Well, at least I was a teenager. Our little snogging session was interrupted by a knock on the door. He got up and retrieved our booze from the waiter. Eric handed me my drink and set his on the nightstand next to the bed, excusing himself to the bathroom. I did a little happy dance on the bed, hoping he wouldn't return and busting me being an idiot. 'Cause we've all done that, ladies and gentlemen. And everybody in between. When we're excited to be with someone, we're there. We've all done that little, like in that scene in Love Actually, she goes around the corner. She's like, just give me a second. She does her little happy dance. Oh yeah, we've been there. So I couldn't believe I was here with him. And he was even better in person than I had ever imagined. Because you guys, I mean, this was a year and a half into my groupie, and Kiss was one of the bigger bands in the history of rock and roll. So every time I got near another rock and roll historical huge band, butterflies. Oh my God, they exploded. So when Erica came out of the bathroom, he was naked. He had something in his hands, but somehow I couldn't even begin to focus on his hands. Not with that night, George. Not with his ginormous cock leading the way. Holy shit, I thought as my eyes about rolled into the back of my head. I looked around for the door and wondered if it was too late to leave. It was big. I hope he didn't see the look on my face. I turned to the side, trying to hide the fear written in my bulging eyes. I had never seen a cock that big. Hell, I was only 17. That was a mighty big thing he was showing off there. And oh God, it was coming closer. Eric kneeled down in front of me, revealing what was in his hands. He was holding a spray can and a large syringe. Kind of freaked me out. I had no idea what this was. I thought Eric was going to drug me up. I was kind of scared. Fortunately, it was just spermicide, which in the end made me pee green for a week. He never used that on me again. After doctoring me, because he wanted to put that in himself, he wanted to administer the medicines so the babies don't be maids. Just the practice. So, and yeah, he's like, no, I love doing this myself. I was like, okay. And he did. I was just like, legs up, sisters. So after doctoring me with his spermicide stuff, Eric got up and stood in front of me, looking down with a sweetly dirty look on his face. He went, oh, okay. I was about to panic. Oh, goodness, I said silently. I had no idea how I was going to do that. Oh, okay, I had a thought. If I could fit it into my mouth, I would be okay. So I leaned in. Yeah. What happened next, you guys? Read the book. Buy the book. So there you go. That was my first time meeting Kiss. If you've already been on the channel, you've already watched that, you know what happens next. But what happens at the end of the night? Because this was like, we had to lie. I'll tell you about after everything. The sexual escapades you want to read, buy the book. But so after everything, and I told Eric about running into Jean. He was like, what? He's like, holy shit. He's like, I just stole one of Jean's girls. Because there was a real hierarchy on the road with the Kiss guys. You don't steal my groupies. You don't cock block me. And Jean would have lorded over him. So Eric and I came up with like a fake story that I had already known him before, that I wasn't sure if I was going to run into him and blah, 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 so that I could go to the show and hang with Eric that night. And then after the show, I've already vlogged about. Go find it. It's about Cammy, the linebacker. So, all right, you guys, or I'll put everything down in the description where you can go find that. But like I said, you want to know what happened with Eric? And after the, did I fit it in my mouth and anywhere else? I do know, but I'm not going to tell right here. So, all right, you guys, thank you for coming to the end of the video with me, for listening to my story. You guys, I love that you guys are empowered by the freedom and the confidence and everything. And I know that a lot of 80s groupies ladies were the same way. We had a confidence, a freedom, a chill about us that nobody had it before, because we didn't have a desperation to be marrying these men or anyone else. So we knew how to take lovers. I think my generation was the last generation that knew how to take a lover, like a real lover. And I don't mean just someone that's a booty call or you don't know their name. You know, there's a difference between a promiscuous woman who knows how to take a lover and a tramp. We're not tramps. We knew how to take lovers. And oh, I miss it. And Eric was one of the first ones I took. I was, like I said, I was about a year and a half into my groupie rock and roll lifestyle, a couple years after meeting David Lee Roth, or a few. Is he 5? Yeah, so a couple years. This was 88, early 88, so about 2.5 years. And about a year and a half into my actual groupie experience. So, yeah, it was exciting and it was fun. And dang, Eric. You see where the height went? The inches he was missing this way went this way. Yeah. All right. So thank you guys for getting to the end of the video with me. Hope you guys are having a good time. Hope you're still enjoying this channel. Got a lot of really cool things, in plan. Like I said, Krista and I doing the podcast. A lot of other 80s ladies groupies coming around. You guys, there's going to be some killer stories, and they're not just mine. And I love that I'm finally giving the 80s ladies a place to have a fucking voice and tell how great it was for us. Because we are always parodied and made a joke out of, while the 70s groupies are made goddesses. Please. We knocked them off their pedestals, and we didn't get back on. Because we didn't need that bullshit brouhaha muse crap. So, all right, you guys, for those of you who made it to the end of the video, that are just lurking around, that are just hanging out, that are just joining us and deciding whether you want to become a member of the family, do it. Go down, hit that subscribe, become a member, hit the share button, and hit my bells so you can be part of the family here at Cocktails and Rocktails. Cheers, big ears. Oh.